Welcome all, Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook. Looking at the DXY on the daily, I've gone over the few scenarios that I think can happen here. We can get a little bit more upside, which is probably unlikely now, or we can get this C down, which is quite possible. I'm thinking that we'll get a correction in here, similar size to this over here, and then we'll get a Z up for a W, X, Y, X2 and a Z up before we get that A, B, C. So I think it's going to be quite choppy. From the price action here, we can see that it's quite choppy. So yeah, I'm going with that scenario. H4, we got 5 up. I'd be looking at, we sort of got 3 down in here, so we can get another flat here before we get more downside, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or this just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So if you're looking for the sell, you definitely can on the lower time frames look for a sell for this wave 3. But you'll have to be careful because, like I just mentioned, we can get a flat here. This is quite sharp, so we may get something quite sharp up here before we get more downside. The H1, there's really not much at all. You'd be waiting for a correction or a buy setup. Like we got 1, 2, 3 here. Just check to see if we got bullish divergence here. We may not have bullish divergence. Yes, we do have bullish divergence. So again, I'd be very careful with the sell at this stage because, like I mentioned, we can get one up in here, giving us that flat before we get more downside. AU on the daily, I'm looking for this wave C up. This like A, all this is a B, and we get this C up. It's starting to take off. Oh. It's more on the H1. There was a correction in here to buy. It sort of carried on a little bit further than I thought. Like we got a nice impulse up in here, and this was sort of looking like a triangle. So, like we got an A, B, C, D, E here, and we're getting like a C up now. So, because we have this triangle here, I'm very suspicious that we're just going to get an A, B, C, and then more downside. It may turn motive, and this starts to be a wave 3. We'll have to watch that. But, yeah, I'm really suspicious about this possible triangle in here. So, yeah, if you're looking for a buy, you definitely can look for a buy. If you get a nice retracement and a nice buy setup, you could look to buy this. For the sell, you'd want, wherever this ends, you'd want a nice impulse down and a correction to sell to go and break the low. GU, looking for that C up. Take some of this off. So I'm looking for that C up on the daily. This was quite tricky. I was looking for a C down in here on a lower time frame. It didn't quite get there. But yeah, we're sort of in a wave 3 here. I don't like this correction in here. If I just go down to this H1, we had a nice impulse up in here and we had an A. I was looking for a B and we got a C down. I was looking for this C down in here. It didn't go very far, and then it took off. So this was very difficult to get in into this buy. Well, the way I trade anyway, it didn't really go far enough, and unfortunately, yeah, I didn't get on this, but yeah. At this stage, we have all this bearish divergence in here. So again, it's very choppy. So I'm not convinced that this is the actual low here. I mean, you can see how choppy this is. Very deep correction in here. Just broke the top and it gave another flat in here. Yeah, not really liking it at all. I'm not convinced that this is the low, like I mentioned. So this is quite choppy. It's not impulsive. So I'd be careful. You pretty much scout both ways. I'll just go down to the M15. And 15, I'd be looking for some sort of a. Actually, I'd be looking on the M30. So I'd be looking at some sort of a like 1, 2, 3, get a wave 4 in here with a ball hidden, and then you could possibly look for a wave 5 up. EU, the same as nothing's changed. I'm looking for that C up, but again, I'm not convinced that this is the actual low. We had a very deep correction in here. H4, we had a nice impulse up, but it was very deep, got back to the 90 fib there. So again, I'm not convinced. This may just be an A, B, C, and we get more downside. So really, you'd just be scalping on the lower time frames. H1, we sort of got a nice impulse up in here for 1, 2, 3. Wait for the wave 4 with a ball hidden, and then I'd look for a wave 5 up. I'll just double check to see if we get divergence in here. We are already getting divergence, so yeah, it's not the best, that's for sure. It can really go either way. I'd be very careful at the start of this week to see which way this really wants to go. NU is one of the nicer ones, showed in the group. So looking for this A, B, C. On the H4, we got all the bullish divergence, so that was fine. It was really in here, that I showed in the group, this here was pretty much spot on to how we trade. We got a nice impulse up, we got a correction, and we get that. There's no bearish divergence in here, so more than likely, the only way to get in this now, if you're not already on it, is to wait for a wave 4. Again, you'd be waiting for some sort of a ball hidden and trade a wave 5 up. But this was one of the better ones that I liked, that I shared in the group. So yeah, this one pretty much played out beautifully. Not much you can do now if you're not on it. If you're not on it, well, you pretty much missed it. You have to wait for a wave 5. GY, this is really tricky. Sort of looking at this A, and we get a B. I was looking at that as the end of the wave B, and we get a C down. This has turned very choppy though in here. It's more bullish. We have 3 down in here with bullish divergence, and we got a nice impulse up. So I'd be looking for upside. You get a nice correction in here. I mean, this is looking very bearish here. You could look for the sell there, but I'd be more interested in a buy. We get like a wave 4 in here. We get a bull hidden, and we get like 1, 2, 3. Get a wave 4 in here, and then you get a wave 5 up. So I'd be looking for the buy here. I'd be waiting for this low here to be broken before I even attempt to look for a buy. Yeah, if you get a buy set up, I'd be looking for a buy. If it keeps on falling past 100 fib like this 100 fib here, I won't put it on, but you can draw your own 100 fib. If it goes past 100 fib, well, I wouldn't be looking to buy then. But yeah. UY is very choppy up here, extremely choppy, very hard to trade. Problem is, we got bearish divergence and a bull hidden, so it can really go either way. We have a bear hidden in here, so I'd be expecting this to break the low. So if you get a little correction in here Monday, you could look for a sell to go and break the low. And then I'd be sort of looking for a nice impulse up and a buy setup. But at this stage, I'd be looking for a sell in here on Monday or Tuesday, waiting for a correction. If you get a nice correction in here, I'd be looking for the sell to go and break the low. You definitely want to, wherever this correction starts, I'd be getting it to break even here. So say you get a correction in here, you get into a trade around here somewhere. As soon as this low here is broken, I'd be getting it to break even, because really can go either way, this pair at the moment. This all looks very corrective, and that's why I say that, because all this looks very corrective. Nothing about this looks motive. So definitely not ruling out more upside. But in the shorter term, I'd be looking for this low here to be broken, because we've got that bear hidden there. UCAD, we're getting this wave 4. So really it's a time factor now. Last couple of weeks, well, at least last week, we were looking at this. We had a nice impulse down, and we're looking for a correction for more downside. It wasn't as large a correction. I thought it might have been we'd get a little bit larger correction here, but we didn't, and it's really falling over. So you'd be looking for sells. Yeah, it's quite risky to be selling now, but we've already got 3 down on the H1 with bullish divergence. So I wouldn't really be looking to sell in here somewhere. That's quite risky. I'd be waiting for a larger correction and try and figure out some sort of a correction that we get a nice setup, and look for the sell. USD Sheffy, nothing's changed for quite some time on this. I'm waiting for this B wave in here, like I have been for quite some time now, before we get a wave C up. So more than likely, we're going to get a lot of choppy movement in the following months. So it will be quite difficult to trade. And that's across the board, really. H4, we got the 5 up, so that was fine. Looking for a larger correction before we get more upside. This here, we can get like an A, B, C here, and then an A, B, C, some sort of a flat before we get more downside. finishing off the correction. So yeah, it's really, I mean, you're scalping at this stage. You're scalping in a B wave. So that in itself is quite risky. If you got a buy set up on the lower time frames, you could look for a buy and see how far it goes, like an A, a B, C, probably get up to 100 fib, and then possibly you may get a sell set up to sell. This is pretty much what I'm looking at this stage. There is another scenario, whereas if you get a very choppy movement in here looking like a B wave, you could sell it. Like um, for like W, X, Y, X2, Z down, but then I'd still be looking for an A, B, C. So, you know, it really depends on what we get in here. If this looks choppy, we can look for a sell. If you get a buy, nice impulse up and a buy setup, you can look for a buy up to that 100 pip, and then, like I mentioned, I'd be looking for a sell. So, yeah. EG right at the bottom of the market on the daily, really looking for buys. We have this bull hidden in here, so it's still valid. The bull hidden's still valid until this low here gets broken. So, I mean, it's risky to buy in this, but if you got a little buy set up, you could look for it to go and break the top for a wave five. At this stage, there really isn't any solid buy setup on it, or sell setup for that matter. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to buy this, and even the sell, um, yeah, we're sort of still within this wave here. So this may be correct if we get three down in here, and then an A, B, C, and then possibly more downside. So I'd be very careful here. This is pretty much untradeable at this particular time, until it gives us something solid to buy or sell. I'm pretty much staying out of it. WTI is very similar to GU on the lower time frames. We have a bull hidden on the H4. So we have this bull hidden here. I'm just waiting for a buy setup on this, and it's just not giving it at this stage. But I'm definitely waiting for it. We're at a fresh low. Ideally, we get another one down here, breaking that low, then getting a nice impulse up, breaking that top, and then a bullish setup. And I'll be looking for the buy to go and break the top for that bull hidden. We go and break this top up here. So I'm just waiting for that buy setup. Gold right up the top of the wave three on the daily. So really waiting for this wave four. I've got all this like this AB. I was just looking for like we had a nice impulse down here. I was looking for an A, a B, and a C. It's extended, so I should really take this count off because it's not correct. But at this stage, I'd be sort of looking at this as a wave three, like a one, two, three. Get a wave four in here, some sort of bull hidden, and then a buy setup, and I'd be more interested in to look to buy. But only after we got this correction, you know, and we had the ball hidden and everything lines up. Looks like we're getting a flat up the top here, so I'm not sure if that did go and break the top. No, it didn't quite break the top. But even here, we got a ball hidden. It didn't quite break the top and that ball hidden play out, but it was very deep, this correction. So um, I'd sort of just be expecting a C down and then more upside. But in the shorter term, you could possibly look for a sell. I mean, it's really gone too far. You know, because it's nearly broken the low already. So it's quite risky. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you got some sort of a sell in here, my pen not working real well, but if we got some sort of a sell set up in there, you could look to go and break the low. But yeah, by the look of it on the lower, even the lower time frames, it looks like a buy. It looks like it's on the M1. Not that I should really be going down to the M1, but this is a buy setup. You know, we got a nice impulse from a low, getting a bullish setup in here, so you could definitely look for a buy on the lower time frame, see how far it goes, and yeah. Silver, we already got the 5 up. Had the 5 up in here. Then we had 3 down in here. This was quite choppy in here, so this is virtually untradeable as well. You know, I'd be sort of concentrating on gold more than silver, especially at this stage here, because if you go back through my videos, I was looking for like a WXY, an X2, and a Z down in here because this was so choppy. Um, and it's sort of taken off, but you know, we're getting bearish divergence in here. I'd be looking for a sell because this still looks very corrective. I'd be more interested in a sell than a buy at this stage. There isn't a sell on it. Um, you'd want a nice impulse down, breaking these lows over here and then giving you a sell setup, and then you could look for a sell. Well, get a correction and then you could look for a sell. Until that really happened, I'd be staying out of it. I mean, you may get a ball hidden in here. You may get a ball hidden in here. Um, and a buy setup, a very risky buy setup because we have bearish divergence on the higher time frame. So, but yeah, that's still a possibility. You know, we get a ball hidden in here and a bullish setup to go and break the top one last time, giving us bearish divergence on the H1 as well. Bitcoin right up the top of the market, and this has already given us the 5 waves up too. Already got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. It's broken the top. This is very choppy here, so I dare say we get a nice correction in here, a larger correction than these over here. And then I'd be looking for a buy. But it's a time factor. You got to wait for that time. There's really nothing on this. I mean, it's you got a nice impulse up in here. It's looking corrective there. It's a very large correction, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get another one up. But then I'd be looking for another one down, like a WXY, Y X2, and a Z down in here. Yeah, so you're really just scalping if you're looking for the buy to go and break this top here. It's really scalping. And then if you got a sell set up, well, I'd be looking for a sell. I'd be more interested in the sell. S&P 500, not really going to go into this much because it's right at the top of the market. It's right at the top of the market with all this bearish divergence on the daily. It's more than likely there's more upside. Like I said last week, there's more than likely there's more upside because this is so corrective. You know, it's staying up the top here, but you know, extremely risky to buy at the top of the market. You'd really just scalping on the lower time frames. Me personally, I'd be staying out of it until I get something solid or a nice sell set up. I'll pretty much stay out of it. AU 200's gone and broken the top again. This is extremely choppy here too, though. So I'd be expecting downside. Like this is very choppy, breaking the top. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of an A, B, C here before we get more upside. Overall, I am looking for a larger C down, but it's just we're just not getting those sell setups, unfortunately. We got 5 up in here. It's not the best. I was looking for something down in here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still maybe getting the wave 4. We get A, B, C here, and then we get that wave 5 up. More than likely, that's what will happen. So, you know, you could look for a buy on this. Wait for it to come back to the 100 fib, around the 100 fib, give you a buy setup. If it gives you a buy setup, well, you could look for that wave 5 up. The FTSE is broken out. We were looking at this. We were waiting for that time factor. It went up and broke the top. Overall, there is bearish divergence on the lower time frame, I dare say. Oh, no, we got bearish divergence on the H4 as well. We may actually get a sell set up on this. I dare say we did on the... I dare say we already got... without giving too much away. But on the M15, it was an M15 trade. Got the nice impulse here after the bearish divergence. And you get that. So really, I mean, there's not much you can do now. You're either in it or you're not. That was a trade to sell. Yeah. Looks like the DAX has really taken off. No bearish divergence in here. No bearish. Well, I think we may just have bearish divergence on the H4, but really not much you can do with this until you get a correction. Yeah, more than likely you'll get a bull hidden in here. And then if you got a buy set up, you could look for a buy to go and break the top. It's really scalping you right at the top of the market, but yeah, more than likely we will get a bull hidden in here and more upside. So if you're looking for the sell on this, I'd be careful at this stage. So I hope you all enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.